the town. So anyway, we're happy today to have Patricia Woodfill, who is a friend of ours from the San Antonio Valley Historical Association. And Patricia had told me last year that she was doing a presentation on what's under the lake. And my friend Jose here told me, I really like that title. Oh, that's intriguing, what's under the lake. And so anyway, when she mentioned that she had done this presentation for what kind of a group?
It's a all-woman camping group called Sisters on the Fly. There's about 25,000 women nationwide, and we met at San Antonio Lake camping. This is like about the 5th year, and in October. And so that I told them, hey, well, I had done a similar sort of one at Hesperia Hall, and I mentioned to them I was doing one on what's under the lake, and so do it for us. So,
yeah, so that's what we said. That's what we said. Do it for us. So John and I haven't seen this presentation, but we know that Patricia has a lot of years of experience in managing the archives for Sava, and that she knows a lot about the area. She lives in Lockwood. And so we're going to let her tell us a little bit about what's under the lake. And if you have questions at the end, we'll take some questions. And some of you may be able to teach us a few things about the area. So,
all right. Well, thank you. I'm so glad you're all here, and I hope you enjoy this little presentation that I put together about what's under San Antonio Lake. And first a little bit about Sava. I'm on the board of directors, and Sava was founded in 1968, and it was, our goal is to preserve local history. We have a growing archive, and it's all stored at McCarlum in their archive room. We have photos, documents that are donated by local families, and we scan them and then give them back, the original. Some of them are just donated to us, and so those are in the archive room at McCarlum. And we have a lot of dedicated members and volunteers that help us on our ongoing success. In January of 2014, a group of local history buffs, Howard was along with us, there he is right. No, weren't you with us, Howard? No, you weren't. That was, never mind.
That's his brother there, looks like.
You were with us, I thought you were. Anyway, that's Wayne Harris in the picture. But anyway, in 2014, we were given permission to go to the bottom, enter the lake, because we were in a drought situation. And we asked so that we could go and find the location of the old town of Pleyto and the cemetery of Pleyto. We gathered at the new Pleyto Cemetery, which is off of Interlake Road and Bryson Hesperia Road. And we gathered there, and that's where we entered the lake. It's called Cemetery Cove. And the construction of the Lake San Antonio Dam began in 1964. And the dam was actually completed in 65, so there's conflicting information that I found out since I've done this in the last few months. It says the dam was completed in 67, but it was completed in 65 and the lake was starting to fill at that time. 67 was when the entire project was completed. That included all the infrastructure, like buildings and the campgrounds, and they finished that project. And so the lake is actually 17 miles long, and there were several privately owned ranches that were purchased to complete the project. And these are photos from Sava's, our photo archive database, and just from what it looked like prior to the lake filling up. And this is the dam being built on the right-hand side. There are bridges and roads then and now. Pleyto Bridge, which is on the picture here on the left, this was, the Pleyto Bridge was built in 1914, and it replaced a cable crossing across the lake, which was a cable in a box that they used to get across. And this photo on the left was taken shortly before it was removed. in 1964, 65 for the construction of the San Antonio Reservoir. John has information on people that, and what the bridge looked like before this, before all that was taken, before it was taken down and passed around by locals. In the cemetery, Pleyto Cemetery is in the right background, seen between, it's between the bridge and the grain bin. And this is the, when we went on the end of the lake, this is the road that we took. It's the old El Camino Real, and it is still under the lake, and you can still drive on it. And this was taken during the drought of 2014. And this is the Pleyto Bridge site looking northeast during the 1977 drought. And this is these photos are also in our database. The one on the left was taken by one of our founders, Rachel Gillette. And the bridge on the right is on the old El Camino Real, and it was built in 1957, and that was taken during the 2014 drought. And here we are traveling on the bridge, on the road, El Camino Real. The El Camino Real ran from, well, King City all the way up, passed through Jalón, and the road is still in front of St. Luke's Church, the old road. And then it ran along under the lake through that valley, and the San Antonio Valley, all the way, to the 101 San Miguel, actually, Bradley and San Miguel. And these are the bridges with the date that are still under the lake. And this is Wayne Harris. He was our guide on the second bridge with 1957 in the El Camino Real. It's just amazing to me to find still bridges and roads under there. So the site of the town of Pleyto was about a quarter mile from the San Antonio River, and it is now under the waters of the Lake San Antonio. And this is a historical marker that is, when you go to the North Shore, you'll see this historical marker that tells about the town of Pleyto, and it was 1796, the area was known as Pleyto. It's a Spanish legal term meaning litigation or dispute. And it may have been applied due to the dispute between the San Miguel and San Antonio mission over property rights. So this is an interesting little marker. Have you ever seen it? Yeah. So do you know about where it is when you go through the
It's the
through
first,
the gate? Isn't it?
the first right,
First.
it will take you down to it.
Yeah, it's kind of where the camping overflow is, isn't it?
That'd be road
Or is it
one.
before that?
Yeah, just past the horse
Yeah.
center there.
Oh, okay. A lot of people don't even know that that exists.
I didn't know that
when
was
you go out to the lake.
Yeah.
You didn't?
No,
And she
but that would
lived
be
in
road
Pleyto.
one that it's on then.
Yeah. So here's a 1919 map of southern Monterey County and northern San Luis Obispo County. And the little red dot up there in the left-hand corner, upper left-hand corner, that is the town of Pleyto and where the cemetery was located. And that's the San Antonio River going through the valley, which is now, all of that is now lake. And this was the town of Pleyto. There's a little laser pin, but it doesn't work on the.
Try it on this one here and see if it shows up any
Which
better.
one is it?
On the
which
white,
button?
at the very top, at the very top. Yeah, see, it disappears when it goes on your
Yeah,
TV,
it
yeah.
disappears. Oh, yeah. Okay. And this is a photograph of the town of Pleyto. It was photographed in 1915, and this town is now completely submerged under the waters of the lake. The post office was established in 1870 on land that was purchased by the Pinkerton family. And my husband asked me, is that the same Pinkerton that was the Wells Fargo Pinkerton?
Famous Pinkertons?
Was it?
Yeah,
Do you know,
no.
Howard? I don't know.
No, as far as I
I
know.
don't think
there's
so.
no Connection.
I think it just, I think they took the name to make that. anyway, so, the Pinkerton family collected rent for its buildings and donated the land for the school. And Pleyto also boasted of a saloon, a dance hall, a livery stable, and hotel. And, you know, it was really a hot spot in the valley during the, you know, in the 1800s.
Did you mention the population? What kind of population?
Oh,
Do we know?
gosh, you know, I really don't know what the population was, so, it's a good question, I'll try and find that out. Wasn't that many people in the town, I don't think, but, you know, like, Pelone was there at one time about 1,000 people, so it could have been, you know, at least 500 to them, I would think. And, in southern Monterey County, is home, this is the Pinkerton Ranch House, and it was called Casablanca Adobe. And southern Monterey County is home to some of the largest concentrations of adobe, ram earth adobe homes that are built. And many in the United States. And the reason why is because a lot of the people that came to southern Monterey County were from Germany and other islands around Germany, and they brought that knowledge with them and started building these rammed earth adobe homes. And like I said, many of them are still intact and remain as residents today, like the Lester Patterson adobe in Lockwood is one of these homes. And then there's several on Hunter Liggett. That is one of the reasons why Sava was formed, because when the military took over that area during World War II, they started using the old adobe homes as target practice. And Ramona Sutton heard bombing. She was in the Tidball store, which is still standing in Sava, as we're dedicated to keeping that building in its condition, trying to keep it up. But she heard bombing, and she ran out there and saw that they were using that as a target. And well, they were told, she ran out and asked them, "What are you doing?" You know, and they said, well, the commander of the base told them to tear down that old building. That was the Dutton Hotel. And so Sava, they formed to try and save all the Bolton adobe was used as a target. And it's standing. Some of it's still standing. It was better protected than the adobe, the Dutton adobe. So, anyway. And when we went in the lake, on the roads in 2014, we found some foundations from the town, and this could be a building in the town of Pleyto, and we think that was the Pinkerton Ranch House on the right. So those are still under the lake. Here's another town, foundation from the town of Pleyto, or the Pinkerton Ranch. And up to some artifacts that we found around the area. This was the Lake San Antonio of the Pinkerton house site during the drought of 1977. And you can see San Lucia Peak in the background there. And these were adobe bricks at the Pinkerton house site after 10 years underwater. Lake San Antonio. This was from a photo taken by Rachel Gillette when she went during the drought under the lake. And there's a bedrock mortar bowl on the bank of San Antonio at Harris Creek. These are all photos from that. Here's some little artifacts that we found during 2014, a truck chassis and some other, they were just all gathered, at one time. We don't know who gathered them, but they're there. And then carved in a rock on the bank of Lake San Antonio, north side of Harris Creek, is the name Hiding, and the date 1912. This was taken during the Rachel Gillette's tour of the lake in 77, Lake Bottom. Now, it was never said whether somebody was there hiding or if that was, or their last name. And then these are remains of a storage tank in San Antonio Cemetery Cove in 2014. Here, this was taken of an old boat that we found. And you can still see in the background, you can see this, what do you call it, the road, sort of. Now here's the Pinkerton Cemetery. At Low Lake time, the grave of Civil War veteran Corporal John McBride. He was shot by Henry Godfrey, and also buried here with him are 2 children and an aunt of Bess Pinkerton. This was during 1977. Now, on the left, that picture was taken in 77. On the right is the same grave, but the rest of it's covered in silk, but the headstone is missing. They could not, when they had to move the cemetery up to higher ground, they had to contact all the relatives. And the story goes that they couldn't contact any relatives of the missing, Civil War veteran or the children. So, they couldn't move the grave, so they just put cement over them, and they're still there. And this is in 1977, Corporal John McBride's gravestone. And then in 2015, local rancher and former Lake Park Ranger Joe Botts he says that told the story that a camper found the gravestone and brought it to the lake headquarters, and so he put it back on top of the grave. That was in 2015. And they put a metal bracket over it to keep it fastened to the grave. And the picture on the right is showing the map of where his grave is when the lake is full. The story was that McBride, he was an Irish immigrant, and it was kind of, sad that he survived the Civil War, and then he came to Pleyto and was shot in an argument over on a California ranch. So, he was shot and killed. And the McBride, Godfrey was put on trial, but he was never accused or, he was acquitted. So he went on with his life. Anyway, here's the abandoned Pleyto Cemetery on the left in 1977, and this is what we found in 2014. So little changes, but not much.
Do you know how many graves were left there that they couldn't contact family?
I'm sorry, how many graves were that they moved?
No, how many were left in place that they couldn't contact?
Just those graves, just the Civil War veteran and 2, supposedly 2 children were buried there, just those 3.
And that's but the whole cemetery, they contacted family for everyone else that was buried.
That's yeah. To me, what I think is like, well, it's such a long time ago, why not just move him, So, who's gonna care, But they have to go by the rule. And this is the site of the old Pleyto Cemetery in 1977, and that's Park Ranger Doug Dean. And then in 2014, another photo of the old cemetery. And that's a picture of Doug Dean and Rachel Gillette at the Pinkerton house site looking toward North Shore. And then on the right is a boat ramp, the old boat ramp.
Chemtrails. Exactly.
What?
Chemtrails.
Yeah, it's kind of trying to compare the 2 pictures so you can kind of see where the house site is, that's actually looking toward North Shore. The mountain range looks the same to me, sort of.
It was just zoomed in no more.
Yeah.
Like to be closer on the one on the right.
In 2015, we went back, we got permission again to go back under, we wanted to get GPS coordinates of all the places that we found, where the cemetery was and where the house was, foundations were. And so, but the grass was so tall that we couldn't find a lot of we found the cemetery and we got coordinates and the boat. And so we took GPS readings of what we could find. And we couldn't get permission to go back again this last drought, before it filled up. This is in 2015, the same kind of photos, the El Camino Real, and looking at the Pinkerton House site toward North Shore and the bridges. That's my husband and I.
So there was obviously rainfall that grew the grass, but not enough to fill up the
Right.
bowl.
It
or
was
whatever?
it was starting to fill.
Okay.
There were certain areas we couldn't get to because of the,
Okay.
it was starting to fill up.
Starting to, okay, cool, thank you.
So that, all of these photos are in our archive photo database, and like I said, they were given to us, donated, digitized, and entered into our database, and they're available for viewing. We have a website, www.sava.org, and you can go there and look at all of our photos. We're adding to them as we get more photos and time to add the photos. If anybody wants to help, we take volunteers. And memberships and donations, we have a membership. Right now, we've got about almost 100 members. And our board of directors, we're always looking for new members and donations. And we get, like I said, I have some membership forms here if anybody would like. Or if you want to help join Sava and help us with any of our projects, the Tidball, and we do various projects. Members receive a biannual newsletter. I brought 3 from the newsletter. And if anybody has any interesting articles or that they'd like to submit, historical articles, we would appreciate it. Always looking for new stuff. Every year we have a spring tour and a fall dinner. This next spring we're hoping to do an Adobe tour of the local Adobes, or it could be a cemetery tour. We haven't decided yet, because a lot of the Adobes have cemeteries there. So, and then last fall we did a fall dinner lecture. That was in November. The spring tour will be in April, either 11th or the 18th. So if you join Sava, you get a newsletter with information about all the events. So visit our website, sava.org, for membership or newsletters. You can download our newsletters on the site. And we're always putting up new information. And we have a Facebook page and on our YouTube channel where we do oral interviews. They're posted up there. John and Karen, was their kind of project. And we all kind of jumped in and helped out with that. So it's really fun to interview a lot of people. A lot of the interviews are on CDs at our King City Library, where you can go and listen to those interviews or go online to YouTube. And hopefully this presentation will be up there soon. Thank you.
So each of you has a little piece of the history of Southern Monterey.